back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you all for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I thank you for your love and for your support. Okay, guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to cut a Queen Anne neckline yoke. So you can see the picture from the thumbnail I showed you earlier on. That's what we're going to learn how to cut today. It is a very simple kind of yoke or neckline. So it is very simple. So I'll show you a very simple way to achieve it. So if you are new to the channel, you are highly and very welcome. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Hit on the bell on the side to get an update whenever I upload a new video. And then if you want to register for our online classes, so you can see my number scrolling through the screen, just send me a message on WhatsApp and then I'll give you the details of all of the classes that we have available. You can follow me on all of my social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, all at Stylish Naija. Okay, now so let's get started. So when cutting this kind of neckline, I would advise for you to do it on a pattern paper. It's always better for you to do it on a pattern paper. With that, you see what you are going to be transferring to your fabric. With that, it will make it easier, neat, and better. Okay, so if you see, I already have my pattern paper here. I almost have my basic bodice form here. This is the front and then this is the back pattern. So I have my bust point line, shoulder line. So if you are going to be doing this, you can do it, you can use any pattern of your choice. You can use a bustier pot pattern, you can use a corset pattern, you can use a normal flat basic bodice pattern. So it depends on what you want. All of them is still the same process. Just watch and then you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, now so the next thing I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be cutting out the neckline, because if you notice, like 90% of Queen Anne neckline, the dip part is always like a sweetheart neckline. So but you can change it. You can just use a straight bustier, that's a straight tube top. So I'll just go ahead, I'll keep the back piece first. Let's work on the front piece. So the next thing I'm going to do, so I hope you can see, the next thing now, I'm just going to go ahead and add. So this is my shoulder measurement, which is 7, and then I added the neckline. So the next thing, I just go ahead, add your own measurements. That's your bust measurement, and then add your under bust measurement. Just do according to your own measurement. So I'll go ahead, I'll cut them out now. So I'm going to place the back and the front together, and then I'll cut out. So for the back, always remember your zipper allowance. Put that into consideration. So I already have this now. So the next thing I'm going to do now, on my front pattern, keep the back on the side. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll do my sweetheart neckline. So for the sweetheart neckline, what I'm going to do depends on how deep you want it to be. So 8 inches is always adequate. That's for the depth. Depends on how much cleavage you want to show. So I'll do 8 inches here. And then when I come to the center part of my, I'm just trying to get the center part. So from this center part, I'm going to, I did 8 inches here. So on this center part, I'm just going to come up a little bit. So it depends on how much up you want to come. So I just came up with like half of an inch. So from this point now, it's just to give me a good, nice curve. From this part, I'm just going to do like a back flip like this. And then I'll blend it into the armhole part. So you can see that's how simple it is to do a sweetheart neckline. So I'll just go ahead, I'll use my marker now to highlight it. So that's for that. And then the next thing, I'm going to come now to this top part. I'm going to mark, depends on how open you want your Queen Anne to be. So normally I'm supposed to use like 3 inches for my neckline, but since it's, if you notice, it's like a very covered neckline on the front part, so I'm just going to use 2.5 inches. But if you are doing for somebody of a plus size, you can use 3 inches. But if it is normal average height weight of size like from size 12 downwards, use 2.5, but from size 16 above, you can decide to use 3 inches. So I have my 2.5 inches. I'm just trying to double check. Okay. So I'm going to come to the back neckline. The same thing I measured. So remember my zipper allowance. I'm going to go ahead and mark my 2.5. So for the back one, for the 2.5, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down with 1 inch. You can even do as much as half of an inch, because you notice it is an inbuilt. So for the back neckline, you can decide to add a collar on top, like a bishop collar. You can do that to bring it up, depends on the design. So I'll just go ahead, I'll cut this out now. So this is for my back piece, so I'll keep it on the side. And then for the front piece, what we are going to do depends on how wide you want it to be on this side. That's this armhole part, that's this armpit part. Depends on how wide, if you take a good look at it. So from this part now, what I'm going to do from my own armpit part, I'm going to use about 2 inches. So you see from here to here now, I'm doing 2 inches like this. I'll just go ahead and mark. You see how I'm placing my tape. So this is my armhole. So don't so please put all those in consideration. You can do 3 inches, depends on how wide, because but if you do like 2 inches or 2.5, after stitching it will truncate a little bit. So I'll just mark it like that. And then you remember our 2.5 inches that we mark here. So what you are going to do now, you're just going to take your tape, your ruler. Okay, I just want to make sure that you can see it properly. So you're going to take your ruler like this. So you see how I'm sloping in my ruler like this. So I'm going to take that, so I'll mark that point, mark it so you don't miss it. So from this point like this now, I'm just going to go ahead, I'll slope it into that part. And then after sloping it into that part, make sure that this part blends in nicely. So that's where we're going to cut out. Depends on how wide you want this part to be. If you want it to be wider, that's the yoke to be wider, you can come out a little bit. You understand? Depends on how wide. So you are the one that will determine how wide you want your yoke to be. So I'll go ahead now and cut this out. I'll show you how to cut it. So when cutting, you notice this part we did not cut any neckline here. So I'll go ahead like this. I'll cut this. I'm just going to maintain that part. Maintain that part like that. So this part, you can just take off those parts, which is negligible. And then from this part now, I'll go ahead now from this point now. I will cut. When cutting, you can decide to come in a little bit because of stitching allowance. You understand? You can come in by half of an inch. So that when you stitch, it will not get truncated. So that is the reason for doing that. So I'll go ahead, I'll open up my piece now for you to see. So this is the back piece. And then this is my front piece. So I'll fold the zipper allowance for the back. Okay, so I've folded my zipper allowance inside. So I'll go ahead now, take this like this. So this is the front piece. I'll place it on it. So you see the armhole area, it's entered, and then these are the yoke part. So you take this yoke like this. You see it's going to fit into that point. So that is why when you are cutting, add allowance to this side, and then this down part also, make sure you add allowance, at least half of an inch. You can even do as much as the 1 inch, depends on you. So you place that one there, and then this one is going to stay here like this. So you see, how it is looking. So you see how it is looking beautiful. So I had to highlight all of the points so you see it properly. So this is how it is done. So for the back neckline, depends on what you want. There are some that you can add a little bit of color, like a bishop collar. You can just add it on this back part. That's after fixing here. That's after connecting here and here together. You can just add a little piece of color to the back piece. So maybe in a subsequent video, I will show you how to actually sew this. That's when I'm a little bit less busy. So thank you so much. So you can see how it is looking. Actually came out really fine. So it came out really fine. So you see that is how simple it is to really cut out a queen anne. It's not like it is a mystery or something really difficult. That's it. So you see the neckline, you see the point where it's staying, you see this part. So it depends on how wide you want this part to be. You can determine that. You can decide to even start your neckline from this point. Just make it, depends on, just measure, cut it on the pattern paper first and see what you have then before you transfer to your fabric. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, please, I would appreciate if you hit on the like button. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. God bless you. Bye.